Welcome to Body by Design. I'm your host, Blue Driver, a women's strength training and metabolism coach. I went from years suffering hormone imbalances, looking soft and bloated, to symptom-free and building muscle for a toned athletic physique. Since then, I've made it my mission to empower women to take control of their own health, hormones and body composition. So grab a cup of coffee and let's build your body by design. Welcome back to Body by Design podcast, everyone. And for this morning, this is recording number 3 for me. I'm bowling them out this morning. This week's episode, progressive overload and 1 rep max, and how we can use 1 rep max to continually progressive overload, even when we might not feel like we have strength. This is a method I use often in my training. And it also helps my clients, because I give them these tools, to find their failure rate a lot quicker. So sometimes when you get into a new program, you start lifting and you're like, oh, I think this is going to be heavy enough. So you pick a weight, you think it's going to be heavy enough. And then you go, oh, I'm meant to be, say you're hitting a rep range of 6 to 8. And you go, oh, well, that was 8 reps, but it felt really easy. So next week I'll add 5 kilos to my deadlift and I'll see how I do. And you get to 8 reps and you're like, still didn't fail. You can spend weeks trying to guess the amount, particularly in early days when you don't understand your own strength. I mean, I've been training for years and years now, and I really do understand my strength, and I understand, I can do a lift and stop and then go, yeah, I probably had 2 or 3 more reps in me, and understand that. But it takes time to learn your body. But sometimes there are times we get into the gym and we just don't feel strong. Maybe we're warming up and it just doesn't feel quite as comfortable, and we don't want to have to pull as much weight as we need to. And this is where, as we need to still progressively overload. And this is where the 1 rep max calculation can really be of benefit in these 2 situations. And I highly encourage you to incorporate this into your progressive overload training. So let's start at the beginning. What is progressive overload? If you haven't listened to some of my other podcasts before and you're not quite sure what progressive overload is when we're training and we're adding 1 extra rep or 1 extra kilo. So you're adding more reps or more weights. And yes, there is better skill, better form, time under tension, all those sorts of things as well that are progressive overload. So absolutely, but let's keep it fairly basic for now, that essentially the way to progressively overload and create muscle is adding another rep to your set or adding some more weight to your set from last week. So you go in every week. This is another reason why we should not be changing the structure of our programs too often. We want to actually give ourselves enough time to progressively overload and adapt to the exercise and get better at it. So each week you should be aiming for a heavier weight or an additional rep to last week. And if you can do that, you are stronger than the week before, and you're eliciting enough stimulus and muscle growth that when you come in the following week and do that lift, you're able to do more. That's essentially what progressive overload is. So progressive overload could look like, and I'm going to use throughout this, I'm going to use the deadlift example and various weights, but say you're deadlifting at 60 kilos and you come in 1 week and you deadlift for 6 reps. The following week that you come in, you want to deadlift 60 kilos, 7 reps. Now, this is on the assumption that you've learnt to train to failure or near failure. So that is basically you're lifting a heavy enough weight that your muscles fail before your cardiovascular fails or your central nervous system has that, you get that burning feeling. If you are cardiovascular exhausted, so you're out of breath, or you're stopping because your muscles feel like they're burning, before you actually get to the point where you try to lift and go, shit, I just can't get that deadlift off the ground, then your weight is too light. You want to progress your weight more, and you actually want muscular failure. So that is, you go to lift that deadlift, you go to execute that another rep, and you literally get it an inch off the ground and drop it. Or you try to do that bicep curl and you get it like halfway up, but you just can't get it all the way up because your muscle has just fatigued so much, it's weak and it can't do it. Not because you ran out of breath because your cardio couldn't cope, not because it just felt hard, like it hurt because it was burning. Your weight's too light and your reps are too high if that's happening. You actually just want muscular failure. So on the assumption we have muscular failure, each week that we come in, if we can get one more rep or one more kilo, then we are actually progressively overloading, truly progressively overloading. Now, if you come in and do 6 reps, but don't actually reach muscular failure, and then you come in the next week and do 7 reps, well, you haven't really progressively overloaded because you weren't at capacity the week before. So this is when you're reaching muscular failure. You've reached capacity at that weight. So 60 kilos, your capacity was 6 reps. Okay, so that's what progressive overload is. What is 1 rep max? Now, I'm going to be honest here. I don't know the mathematical calculation, so please don't speak to me about that. I don't really need to know it. There's plenty of online calculators. There's also some great apps that you can download and put on your phone, so I highly recommend doing that, having a 1 rep max calculator on your phone, so you can utilize this in conjunction with recording your weights every week. So if I go into the gym and I lift 60 kilos for 6 reps, the calculated 1 rep max is theoretically, if you increased your weight to this 1 rep calculation, you would only be able to lift it once. So 60 kilos for 6 reps is a 70 kilo 1 rep max. So it's saying if you can lift 60 kilos 6 times, you should be able to lift 70 kilos, but you'll probably only get 1 rep. Okay. It's an estimation as well. So, it is mathematical calculations, but that's essentially what it's saying. So your 1 rep max on your deadlift is currently 7. Now, if you increased your reps the following week to 7 reps, your 1 rep max is now 72 kilos. You've just increased your capacity to lift from 70 kilos to 72 kilos. Congratulations. You just got stronger. That's essentially what it is all about. Now, sometimes when we're going through our warm-ups, things just feel really fucking heavy for some reason. You still want to progressively overload, or maybe your sleep quality the night before wasn't fantastic. Maybe you're kind of feeling like you're coming down with a virus and your energy just isn't as much. Maybe you're feeling particularly sore from the previous workout. Whatever the reason, there can be multiple reasons to why you go, I really don't think I could, especially when we start really lifting heavy. So say you had done a 100 kilo deadlift, you might go, yeah, I don't think I can touch that weight this week. Now I'm going to stick with the 60 kilo example just because that was the number that I happened to pick when I started this. I didn't give much thought to it. I just picked a 60 kilo deadlift. So say you're deadlifting 60 kilos for 7 reps. So that's 72 kilos. And you come in this week, the following week, and you go, my sleep was just really shit, and just moving things off the ground is feeling really hard right now. But I think I can still progressively overload. I just don't want to lift as heavy. You can back your weight off and just do more reps and still get more than 72 on your 1 rep max. So what would it take? I haven't even worked this out. I'm going to actually just play with figures here. So let's say you go, I feel like the max I really want to lift today is going to be 50 kilos. All right. I am just playing with some numbers here. I've got an online calculator open here. Okay, give me one moment, people. Right, okay. So your 1 rep max, if you've deadlifted 60 kilos for 7 reps, your 1 rep max is 72 kilos, okay? And say you go, I just don't feel quite that strong this week. I'm going to back it off a little bit. I'm going to make it 55 kilos instead, and I feel like I can do that. You now need to lift 10 reps to get 73 kilos. for a 1 rep max, and you would still be progressive overloading your strength. You are still stronger this week. You just happen to do it with a slightly lighter weight because your body felt like you needed that slightly lighter weight because of lack of sleep, getting unwell, something like that. So this is a way that you can use it. So you might just feel like, yeah, I can do a few more reps. I just don't feel I can handle the real heavy right now. So you back the weight off, but how many reps do I need to still ensure I progressively overload? And this is the perfect way to do it, using a 1 rep max calculator. So I just played with the weights and the reps until I worked out. So if I dropped it back to 9 reps, I'd be around the 70 kilo-ish mark. So I went 10 reps and it takes me to 73.3 kilos. So I know at 55 kilos, if I want to beat what I did last week, I would need to do 10 reps, and that's what I'm aiming for, to still be able to progress with my strength and my muscle gains, which is ultimately what we're looking for, to increase our muscle mass. If we are stronger, our muscles have to be getting bigger. You don't get stronger without your muscles getting bigger. So that's one way in which you can use 1 rep max. A great way to use it when you're first starting out, when you're first starting out in training and you go, how much can I actually lift? The best way to do it is pick a damn weight. Deadlift again. Let's just go, okay, you feel comfortable with 50 kilos. Okay, I'm going to put 50 in here. You just go, yep, that feels like a comfortable weight. My rep range that I'm actually aiming for, let's say you've been programmed the 6 to 8 rep range, and you go, right, this is the first time I've done it in this program. I am just going to pick up my 50 kilos and I am just going to continue to lift until I cannot lift anymore, regardless of, you think 50 kilos is going to be about right. You think you'll end up in the 6 to 8 rep range. But if you lift and it's less that you can get, or if you lift and you feel like, and you get to 8 and you've got more in you, you keep going until you cannot get that bar off the ground. Now, let's say you got 13 reps. 50 kilos, you've gone in, you've gone, okay, how much can I do in a deadlift? You've picked 50 kilos and you failed at rep 14. So you know that you got 13 full reps. Now you can calculate your 1 rep max, okay? In the very first week you step into your program. And it is 71.7 kilos, okay? Now, when you know your 1 rep max, next week when you come in, you go, what weight do I need to lift to get 6 reps? Because if you've got a rep range of 6 to 8, you're going to go, right, I'm going to aim for the bottom of the range so I can just increase by 1 rep each week before I increase my weight. What weight am I theoretically, with a 1 rep max of 71.7, what weight can I move for 6 reps? So we now know that we want our reps to be 6, but what weight can we move? Now, let's say I'm going to put in 58 kilos. What does that give us? Not enough. I'm just hitting a few numbers here so I've gone 58, 59. 59 is 68.5 kilos. Let's go 60. It is 70 kilos. Let's go 62 kilos is 72. So last week, if you lifted 50 kilos for 13 reps, you would be 71.1 kilo, 1 rep max. So you want that or more this week at 6 reps. So if I did 6 reps for 62 kilos, I would get a 72 kilo rep max, 1 rep max. So that is a slight increase on the week before and very reasonable. So now you know, in just 1 week, you have now actually set the baseline for what you have capacity to lift using the 1 rep max. So you know this week you're going in with 62 kilos and you're going to aim for 6 reps. If you get the 6 reps, great. Maybe you only get 5 because it's a new stimulus on your body, jumping from 50 to 62. So your body might be adapting. That's okay. You got 5. Next week, you'll get 6. Maybe you might get a little bit more. It is an estimation, but it actually allows you to work out what you have capacity to lift in weight for the rep range that you've been prescribed. And it's a really easy way to do it. So within a week, I have not only worked out what my rep range is, I've still progressively overloaded if I hit those 6 reps by 0.9 kilo, which is all you need to do. If you're getting one more rep or one more kilo in your 1 rep max every week, you are progressively overloading your muscles. You are getting stronger. And this allows you to manipulate those numbers at any point in time, depending on how you're feeling. Maybe you're doing a shoulder press and you normally shoulder press 12.5 kilos for 10 reps. Let's do this. I'm going to do 12.5 kilos, 12.5 kilos, and let's say you got 10 reps. That was last week. All right. 16.7. You get in there this week and the 12.5s aren't available. Someone's using them and they look like they're going to take a while. And now you're going, I don't have time to wait for the 12.5 kilos. I'll pick up the next lot, and the dumbbells, the next lot is 2.5 kilos more. So it's 15. Okay. How many reps do I need to do to make sure I still progressively overload? Well, 16.1. If you did 12.5 kilo dumbbells with 10 reps and you then went, okay, they're not available, I won't be doing 11 reps with them this week. So you've got a 10 to 12 rep range. I won't be doing 11 reps with them this week, but the 15 kilos, how do I know I still have progressively overload with my reps? You pick up the 15 kilos. If you can get 5 reps, you have still progressively overloaded your 1 rep max, which would be 16.9 kilos, which again is a progression of 0.8 kilos. So now with 15 kilos, you're aiming for 5 reps or more to progressively overload. So you can also use this in the situation of the weights I normally use are not available to me. Can I go up or down? Now you might even choose to go down, but when you go down, you might find, let's say you went down. Ooh, that's really interesting. So let's go down to the 10 kilos. Okay. How many reps would you have to do to beat that 1 rep max, which was 16.1? Let me just work this out. All right. 18 reps would be 16 kilos, so you wouldn't progress. Really, once you get beyond 12, 15 reps, the rep range is too high. Yes, you can still build muscle at this, but for the woman in perimenopause or menopause who's under a lot of stress, who's trying to bring her cortisol down, we want to nurture our central nervous systems. And what I find that anything above the 12 to 15 rep range becomes just too much for our central nervous system. We're overloading it. It's like doing more than 3 sets, doing 4, 5, 6 sets in the same exercise. All you're doing is frying your central nervous system. So if it was me and I stepped into the gym and I went 12.5 kilos, I'm going to get to the 11, I'm aiming for 11 reps, and I walk up to the rack and the 12.5s are gone. I've got the choice to pick up the 10s and I've got the choice to pick up the 15s. I'm going to use my 1 rep max calculator and work out what's going to be best for me in that moment. And I can either pick up the 10 kilos and aim for 19 reps to progressively overload, or I can pick up the fins and aim for 5 reps and still progressively overload. For me, I don't do well in that higher rep range. I don't do well above 12. Honestly, I don't even go 15. I know my body performs better in the 6 to 12 range. It's very rare I even go over 10 actually, but generally for my clients, I'm prescribing anywhere between the 6 and the 12 range, sometimes 15 on smaller muscle groups. But honestly, if I have to go to 19 reps on a shoulder press, I'm going to be fucked. My central nervous system's going to be going, oh, what are you doing to me? And I don't want that sort of stress on my body. So I would personally pick up the 15 kilos. Now for you, you may go, oh, the heavy just makes me feel, because technically, studies show anything under the 20 under the 20 reps in a set will grow muscle, is hypertrophy, right? So that's what studies say. I'm telling you from my experience in dealing with 40 plus women in perimenopause and menopause, it's too many reps to do. So I would personally pick up the 15s and do the best I could. 5, 6 reps. And I actually find I perform better with the heavy weights. So for that, I'd probably find I'd still get 6 reps out anyway. and actually go well and truly over progression for me. So there's 3 ways there that you can use the 1 rep max calculator to your advantage, so you're not slowing down your progress every week. So if there isn't the weights available to you, the dumbbells available to you, which ones are you going to choose and still be able to progressive overload without going, shit, I just guessed this week and I picked up the 10s and I did about 15. Well, then you'd actually find out you didn't progressively overload. So you've missed a week where you could have progressed, but you didn't. And let's face it, building muscle takes a very long time and it's a hard thing to do for women. So we don't want to miss out on those weeks. We have enough weeks where, life crops up or we get sick or we've been away, that we're missing weeks where we get to progress, injuries that might set us back. We don't need to be adding to those weeks that we missed because someone's got the dumbbells that we normally use and there's nothing else available to us. You can use this to still progress and have control and knowledge over your lifts. The other one is if your body just isn't feeling the love for heavy in that week, you can wind the weight back and do the higher reps if you choose to, because you feel like that's what your body needs, because maybe you're feeling a little bit off this week. And I do that sometimes when I'm tired. I'll just wind the weight back because I just feel like I can't move it and just do a few extra reps. And then the third way we can use it is when we're setting the foundations of a new program. Now, remembering whether you're first stepping into the gym, your first ever program, you want to set your weight, or whether it's just a new program to you. You might have been in the gym for a little while, it's a new program to you. We got to remember that you might have been doing a 100-kilo deadlift before, but it was in your last program, it was the first exercise. You're fresh, you're new, there's no fatigue in your body. You get a new program, you still got deadlifts in there, but this time you've been programmed, say some lunges first or some calf raises first, or maybe both before you get to pre-fatigue your body before you get to the deadlift. That's a strategy that can be used as well. Well, you're probably not going to lift 100 then, are you? That doesn't mean that you're weaker. It just means that your muscle at this point is a little more fatigued. But what you want to know is, how much can I lift with it in this order of my program? Because it's a new program. Use the 1 rep max calculator. Pick your 100 kilos, or maybe you go, it's not going to be 100. I'll just pick 90. Do 90 and just do reps until you fail. And then work out on the 1 rep calculator what your 1 rep max is and go, great, now I know when I come in next week, I need to beat my 1 rep max. I can set my weights within the rep range I've been prescribed. So 3 really great ways that you can use a 1 rep max calculator. I highly recommend using this. You can download them for Apple or Android. There's also sites on your computer. Just do the search 1 rep max. The number 1, REPMAX, 1 rep max. Find one that you like and then start working out what your 1 rep maxes are and progressively overload on your 1 rep max so you're not missing weeks where things aren't quite optimal. Now, if you have found this helpful this week, this little tidbit of information, and you haven't understood 1 rep max before and it was helpful, please take a screenshot and share on Instagram at strengthtraining.nutritionist or on Facebook at Lou Driver. And until next week, enjoy.